The retail industry is in the middle of a never-ending storm of chaos, a force that doesn't give up and doesn't care who it hurts. The business giants that have stood tall for hundreds of years are now on the verge of falling apart. The economic situation is the worst it's been in a long time, and the storm keeps getting stronger, stealing customers away from corporations. From the high-end pharma brand to the magical world of Disney, the whole industry is shaking and on the verge of collapse as stores try to deal with the harsh reality of falling sales and the heavy weight of bankruptcy. With bated breath, we show you a scary list of companies that are fighting for their lives in the dangerous year of 2023. But before we get to that, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on post alerts so you don't miss any of our videos. Let's get started. Number 1. M&Co. In December 2022, a shocking turn of events shook up the UK's busy fashion scene. The British clothing brand M&Co got caught up in the tumultuous waves of administration. Like many other stores, M&Co went out of business because customers stopped buying as much and costs kept going up due to rising prices. The fashion brand needed help navigating these dangerous waters, so they hired Teneo, a well-known management consulting firm, to help them get through the stormy seas of administration. Even though storm clouds were gathering in the sky, M&Co was brave enough to say that it would keep its online storefront and 170 real stores open. Behind the scenes, nearly 2,000 hardworking workers don't know what the future holds for them. Once thought of as a kingdom in the world of home goods, Bed Bath & Beyond now stands at a crossroads. Number 2. Disney. It looks like the good luck potion for Disney stores, which used to be a thriving kingdom of magical goods, has run out. Just 2 years ago, the terrible news came out that another 53 of their once bustling Wonderland stores would close this year, and another 60 stores would go out of business in 2022. Disney used to be the best place to have fun. Its first store, which opened in 1987 in the middle of the Glendale Galleria, had an atmosphere that made people feel like they were in a fairy tale. After 30 years, online shopping kept getting more popular, and a dark cloud of uncertainty crept over the business, casting a dark shadow over the stores. In a last-ditch effort to keep from being completely wiped out, Disney is increasing the number of ghosts it employs by 15% as it desperately clings to its online presence. This is a last-ditch effort to use its supernatural power and keep selling its beloved relics of dreams and fantasies. 3. Wayfair. Wayfair is the best online store for home goods, and there aren't many that can compete with them. Behind the invisibility cloak, though, is a terrifying truth. It has been haunted by constant losses for most of its life. Wayfair was able to make a running profit of more than $360 million in 2020. Before that big year, the company had been making net losses every year since it went public in 2011. But even with the small gains it made in 2020, when sales of home goods and online shopping were booming, it couldn't survive because its operating margin was so small. The next year, Wayfair lost so much money that they were in the same situation as before. As the company stared into the abyss of bankruptcy, it made the shocking decision to cut its business staff by 10% in a last-ditch effort to save itself. Number 4. Forma Brand. When Morph changed its name to Forma Brands in 2008, it quickly became known as a powerful company. Still, even giants can fall. Some of Forma Brands' most influential people got into trouble in their personal lives, which led to a scandal. As the years went by, Forma Brands had to fight an uphill battle. Its once great brands did not make enough money to meet its high revenue goals, so it had to make a hard choice to close its stores. In a world that was changing quickly, the battle-scarred beauty titan suffered and longed for a second chance. At the beginning of 2023, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. 5. Boardriders. Boardriders Inc. is the company behind well-known surf and sportswear names like Quicksilver, Billabong, and RVCA. These days, Boardriders Inc. is in the news because its debt is growing so quickly. Experts say that Boardriders is one of the few companies that can keep up with how much debt it has. Analysts have pointed out that Boardriders' working performance has been getting better, but the stormy clouds that have been gathering over the company in recent years can't be ignored. It has become so big that Boardriders is now in a legal fight with its lenders. The main point of disagreement here is that the lenders say that the health crisis rescue financing that Boardriders provided unfairly helped some creditors more than others. Number 6. David's Bridal. The once famous wedding dress store hit an unbelievable low when they shocked everyone by saying that they were firing over 9,000 faithful workers. The company got out of its first bankruptcy in 2019, but the next year, it was caught in the grip of a terrible plague. Since all kinds of parties were no longer allowed, there was no need for fancy wedding clothes. Even though weddings slowly started up again after the health crisis, David's Bridal was still haunted by the cloud of financial trouble. Their business, which used to be a thriving haven for brides-to-be, is now struggling because people aren't as loyal as they used to be after the health crisis. 7. Independent pet partners. The person who bought up popular pet shops like Loyal Companion, Chuck and Don's, Natural Paws, and Kreiser's is stuck somewhere in the muck of financial ruin. Even though the business was known for its high-quality, grain-free, high-protein dog food, it couldn't avoid the problems caused by changing customer tastes. In February, Independent Pet Partners filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy with their tails down. The company had to say goodbye to two of its most popular brands, Natural Paws and Loyal Companion, in order to get its finances back on track. This was a hard choice, but it was the right one. As soon as they closed their doors, people who loved pets felt a wave of sadness. 8. Tuesday Morning. This cheap store for home goods that people love has also been through its share of storms. In February, the company filed for bankruptcy, which wasn't the first time in the last few years. In May 2020, when the health crisis caused chaos in their shops, they started the first part of their fight. Because of forced closings, Tuesday Morning is now facing the harsh truth of financial trouble. They were determined to stay in business, so they started restructuring and said goodbye to a number of sites. But there were a lot of problems on the way to getting better. As people spent less money and interest rates got higher and higher, Tuesday Morning was once again caught in a financial storm. Number 9. Party City. Party City is just one of the many businesses that fell into the dangerous depths of the outbreak. They suffered under the weight of a risky leveraged buyout and ended up with too much debt to repay. Their plan B, which was to rush into the toy market, also didn't work out very well. But, all things considered, the outbreak caused the most damage. Due to the destructive nature of the corona, Party City would no longer be a place for happy parties and social fun, which was its whole point. Once the key to their success, being close to other people now puts their health at great risk. As a last-ditch effort to fix poor Halloween sales and other problems, the company fired 19% of its senior staff. This was a sad thing to have to do. 10. What's real? Real Deal is a well-known player in the e-commerce business, and between 2018 and 2020, its sales grew by an impressive 40%. During the health crisis, however, the company's clothing sales went down, and their total wealth went down. And just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, their authentication process came under a lot of scrutiny, which was a huge blow to their image. As Julie Wainwright, the company's founder and CEO, suddenly quit her job, bad news kept coming. The business world was changing, and Real Deal was having trouble finding workers. This made it hard for them to buy goods, so they did something they had never done before. They hired more people. 11. Charismatic brands. Charismatic Names, which owns well-known names like Dickies and Cherokee, has had its share of bad luck. In recent years, the company has been hit hard by increasing competition, especially from direct-to-consumer DTC brands like Figs. In a shocking turn of events, sales decreased to a new low following a brief increase due to a health crisis, while the company's non-product cost increased by 30%. This skyrocketing cost is due to the huge legal fees that came from a case that Charismatic Brands started against Figs 4 years ago and is still going on. This case was based on false advertising and unfair business practices, but the result has only made things worse. Now that the company is on its last legs, it is desperately thinking about cutting costs and trying to save what's left of its crumbling supply chain. Number 12. Digital brand. A once promising thing that dared to go public 2 years ago is now frozen in the icy grips of bankruptcy. In a sinister twist, ominous language was put into its papers with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This language hinted that the company might soon go bankrupt if it couldn't get more money. Even though the business was able to get some new money in the meantime, it has been losing a lot of money. The young business ran into a different kind of monster in the form of legal fights with creditors who wanted to be paid back for missed payments. One angry customer gave the company an ultimatum. It had to stop its plans to grow or pay off long-standing bills for goods shipped years ago, as far back as 2019 and 2020. This mess and the fact that Digital Brands Group hasn't taken care of its financial responsibilities have put a dark cloud over the company and made it hard to move forward. 13. Boxed. Boxed is a huge company that sells in bulk and has promised to change the way people buy in bulk. They have been doing business in a lot of different ways, including taking subtle shots at retail giants like Costco, BJ's, and Walmart. But maybe they should just focus on business inside the company since going public hasn't been easy for them. The company, which has been around for 10 years, is almost broke. In a scary sign of how they were falling apart, the New York Stock Exchange told them they were going to die soon. Boxed had not met the exchange's high standards, and their stock prices had been below the feared $1 mark for a long time, which was a clear sign of disaster. 14. Redbubble. Redbubble is another company that is close to going out of business. The world's largest marketplace for independent artists used to do well by selling things like stickers and phone cases. All of that is now a thing of the past because the company's finances have been getting worse recently, which is sad. In a big change, Redbubble's financial health rating has gone from very low risk in 2021 to high risk in 2022, which is very worrying. The key measure of Redbubble's long-term health, its core health score, went from 74 in 2021 to just 22 in 2022, and 2023 looks like it will be even worse. 15. Grove Collaborative. This sustainable personal care company used to be a simple place to sell other brands, but now its own private names are making it miserable. CEO Stuart Landesberg said that this disturbing change had become the key to their growth, ensuring that they would fail by the end of 2021. Grove Collaborative went public by doing a scary de-SPAC deal with Richard Branson's strange special purpose acquisition business. This bad thing happened in the middle of a lot of IPOs from other digitally native companies that all seem to be headed in the same direction. But, like other stores with bad luck, this scary store has been cursed with something that makes it hard to make money and hard to be successful. As the fiscal year of 2021 ended, Grove's net income barely moved forward, increasing it by just 5.3% to a meager $338.7 million. 16. JOANN. JOANN is facing a tough retail market right now, with sales going down, sales at similar stores going down, profit margins going down, and costs going up. The store that sells arts and crafts is having a hard time getting through all these problems. In a troubling report, it was said that JOANN's third quarter net sales dropped to $562.8 million, which is a drop of almost 8%. The company has made the hard choice to stop its quarterly dividend so that it can improve its cash flow and balance sheet. Everyone is wondering if JOANN will make it through this storm without doing something drastic like asking for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. 17. Carvana. In a shocking turn of events, Carvana, a business that sells used cars, had a terrible year in 2022 as the market for used cars lost steam. In November of last year, the company shocked everyone by saying that it had lost $508 million in the third quarter. Carvana's stock dropped by a shocking 50% when this earth-shattering news came out. In a desperate attempt to save itself, the company took drastic steps. This year, Carvana fired 2,500 people without any consideration. This was a terrible thing to do, as it was about 12% of the company's total staff, but even that isn't enough to save them right now. 18. Certus Emma Beddings. Certus Emma Beddings filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in January with a sad heart because they had been through a lot of hard times. As a result of the emergency funds it received during the health crisis, the company was already dealing with ongoing legal issues. As the legal fights went on, a new storm was brewing. Sales were slowing down because of the uncertainty of the economy as a whole. When Certus Emma Bedding found out it had $1.9 billion in debt, it decided to take action. They started the process of restructuring to try to get their debt down to $300 million, which would be easier to handle. Number 19. Belk. Belk is just one of the many companies caught up in the constant business storm. Belk is back on Moody's famous list of companies that are likely to go bankrupt. It seems like this has happened before. As the year started, experts said that the world of department stores would soon be in trouble. It was blamed on the uncertain wants and needs of consumers. With shops in 16 southern states, the well-known company has a large number of loyal customers, but that's slipping. The problem of people spending more than they can afford is a threat to all of these businesses, but especially to Belk. Number 20. Bed Bath & Beyond. So far this year, Bed Bath & Beyond has had to deal with a storm that has never been seen before. This once strong company has been forced to make choices that will change its future. They did something that had never been done before. They closed 150 of their shops. The bad luck didn't stop there, though. The cruel god of economy downturns made them cut 20% of their valuable staff. But that wasn't the end of it. During the most recent quarter, sales also dropped by a worrisome 26%. So that's the end of it. A thought-provoking look at the problems that stores face now that bankruptcy is looming over their future. Will these failing businesses find new ways to stay afloat in the market that is getting more and more competitive? How can customers help their favorite stores make it through these hard times? Share your thoughts and ideas in the area below for comments.